What's going on, guys? James from the Research Revolution. I'm over here on Ron Johnson's channel. I love Ron Johnson's channel. I just wanted to play a clip. I think it illustrates the Jezebel spirit that is overtaking the world right now. Let's take a look.
You know, these people from the quote-unquote New World Order who have, provoked endless wars and ravaged nation after nation. They're letting people in from these ravaged nations into our countries with the hope, listen carefully, with the hope that these people that come in will blow something up. They need it. They want it. It's part of their plan. Because if they blow something up, then all of a sudden they can start rolling out new security measures. They can start rolling out more 1984 Orwellian, measures. What don't people understand about the current situation? Are people completely ignorant of history? Are people completely ignorant about the state of our union? They must be. They must be. I know they're playing Pokemon Go. They're playing PlayStation. They're having a good time. But they have no clue about the state of our nation or the state of the world. They have no clue about the history of the modern world. Because if they did, they wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let's let these people in with the hopes that they're going to blow something up. If they were serious about making the world a better place, they would have been pushing peace, or they would have been pushing some kind of island where we could send all these people to. That's what, that's what they would be advocating. They wouldn't be advocating people that are coming from, the apocalypse to come into our country and be like, oh, everything's awesome, enjoy yourself. You'd have to be pretty gullible, to say the least. But that's what's going on. And the radical left is out there pushing, for, everything that is just anti-common sense. But common sense isn't their problem. They've got an agenda. They have an agenda, folks. And it's about, creating a new country and a new world. They call it the liberal democratic order. We saw this in their papers, in their white papers, boldly stated at the end of the last administration. In the ODNI report, they were like, oh, this is a threat to the, this hacking, quote unquote, is a threat to the, to the democratic, liberal, New World Order. Seriously. They plan on, re-engineering our country as well as the world in their image. And their image is like two men plowing each other. It's S&M. It's raping little children. Quite literally. Quite literally, folks. The evidence is there, and it's irrefutable. Irrefutable. But you really have to look at your history. You really have to look at everything that happened since JFK, all the way up until, Watergate, 9/11, WMDs in Iraq. You have to look at it and understand what happened. It's not about naming names. We don't really care about the names. These people, have done their thing, and it's too late to do anything about that. But let us not ignore the lesson that should be learned by all of us. I mean, the true history of JFK, the Vietnam War, the Gulf of Tonkin, 9/11, all of that stuff should be taught in schools for what it is, instead of just, keep feeding them this propaganda. Because it's this lack of understanding of our history that is setting the stage for history to repeat itself. And it's going to repeat itself with modern technology. And when people ignore history, it finds a way of venging itself. And that is what is going to happen. People are really, really ignorant as to what happened. But All the presidents until now were all part of this skull and bones, like New World Order, post-Kennedy coup d'etat administration. And it's basically been a monarchy ever since LBJ. We're not sure about Reagan. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But otherwise, it's just been a catastrophe after a catastrophe after a catastrophe. And, you know, that's why people are like, we need to drain the swamp. That's why people are like, you know, the system is rigged, to say the least. The system is rigged, ladies and gentlemen. But as we set up our music here for the remainder of the show, which is pretty much done now, we'll just jet into some of the other news on this topic. Breaking news, if you're just joining us, the radical left media is losing their mind. They're like, oh, you know, at first they didn't understand when Trump signed his executive order. But now all of a sudden they're like covering the effect, you know, mere hours later at the airports. And they're splashing it everywhere on the front pages. And of course, world leaders are weighing in. They're not happy. They're like, oh, we left our borders wide open. Why don't you? You know, stupidity is contagious. And you have to watch out because they keep trying to sell their, their pitch like a used car salesman. They're like, oh yeah, you know, this is good. Keep bringing these people in that just want to blow shit up. Yes, bring them in. It's awesome. And the reason that they want to bring them in is exactly for that purpose, so that these people that are coming from like the post-apocalyptic world will come out here and blow shit up. That way, as soon as it happens, they can come out, they can roll out their police state, they can, basically instill some sort of martial law, some sort of 1984 Brave New World. That's their plan. They want to lock down our societies. They want to transform it into a total police state. And unless that happens, they're not going to be happy nor secured. So they have to keep, making that happen, making it possible. And that's a major problem for the rest of us that are awake. I mean, it's already bad enough. I mean, how long does it take you? Or just think of the feeling, like you're driving, you just go into the, grocery store, you're going to the mall. All of a sudden, the 5-0 rolls up behind you. What's that feeling like? What's that feeling like in your stomach? Nothing against the cops. I mean, the cops got a tough job. It's a tough world out there. They need to be there. And we're not going to talk about the social engineering just yet that's made this world what it is today. But just imagine that feeling. And imagine it getting worse. You're just driving all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there, you look in the rearview mirror and it's the 5-0, and you're like, oh, gasp, and it's just like, what do I do? I better not, swerve out of the lane, and you just got two hands on the steering wheel, and you're just freaking out, and you're just hoping that they don't lock you up and, beat you up or something. And that's part of what they want, too. They want people living in fear. They keep creating this boogeyman so that people will unite together to support the slavocracy. People aren't going to, be slaves willingly. But if you give them the proper incentive, they'll surely do it. And by always having this perpetual enemy, this boogeyman that we can all kind of like rally behind or against, it keeps us in line. It brews that team spirit, but not too much, because they need that divide and conquer aspect of it as well. But ever since the Cold War ended, they've been desperate for a boogeyman, because they know if people aren't focused on the boogeyman, they'll be focusing on the tyrants at home. They'll be focusing on the tyranny at home. What's the definition of fascism? Fascism, we say that like other countries, they're fascists, they're fascists. What is the definition of it? It's when corporations run the government. Does anybody think it's a country for, of, and by the people out there? Or is it a country for, of, and by the corporation? We are the living, breathing embodiment of a fascist society, whether we like it or not. And so they need this perpetual enemy. They need this boogeyman. Otherwise, people will start thinking about what's going on.
That's right.
What's going on?
They need a boogeyman. I'll leave the link below. Ron Johnson's awesome. It's been James from the Research Revolution. I'm out of here.